Hi guys, welcome to Pageant Professors. I'm Prita and this is Nicole, and today we are talking gowns on a budget.
Yeah, in one of our last videos we were talking about trunk shows, and while they're a great place to find a really unique and fabulous gown, it's not necessarily the best place to find a gown on a budget.
Totally agree, but luckily there are a number of different options and avenues that you can take to find a gown that fits within your price range. Plenty of sites that you can go to and stores that you can visit that will help you find the perfect gown without breaking the bank.
Yeah, and Allie's written a great article called Gowns on a Budget, Borrow, Bargain, or Bedazzle, and it's on our website, pageantprofessors.com. Okay, so let's first talk about borrowing an evening gown. Everyone's on Facebook or some social media website. It's a really easy way to connect with your friends and other pageant girls, and it's as simple as sending someone a message or commenting on someone's evening gown photo and saying, hey, I really love your gown. Would you consider me borrowing it for my next competition?
Yeah, Nicole makes a great point. I mean, you have to remember that for every pageant, there's one winner. And so all of the other contestants have these gorgeous gowns that now are just sitting in their closet. So it's a great way for former contestants to kind of make a little bit of money by possibly renting out their gowns, if they choose to even charge for it. But it's also a great way for new contestants to get access to gorgeous, fabulous gowns without having to pay the ginormous price tags.
It's so true. I mean, they might not even have a price that they're going to be asking for you to borrow it. I borrowed a great evening gown from Heather Swan, Miss DC USA 2011, and I wore it to an appearance. Love her. Shout out. And it was just a great gown, and she let me borrow it for free, and I returned it a couple months later, and it was so easy.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, I mean, the pageant community is so small, and so you'll often find times where girls are willing to help out other, pageant contestants. We've all been there. We, know how expensive they can be. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to other pageant girls, because they've, most likely been in your same position and are usually willing to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, they've worn it, once, twice, maybe 3 times, and if they wear it a 4th time, might be a stretch, and so they're probably willing to, let it go and, take it off their hands for a while.
Right. One quick note, though, about borrowing gowns is, remember, you have to give them back. So altering isn't generally an option. There are kind of ways to use fashion tape to use or to make a hem, or little things like that. But for the most part, definitely pick, or not pick, but ask a former contestant that is around your same body type and size, because you're not going to be able to make any dramatic alterations to a gown as if it was your own.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I mean, I could borrow a dress from Prita, but I would be, it would be really unlikely for me to borrow a dress from Courtney, who
unless it's a really long train.
Unless it's a really long train, and she all of a sudden overnight lost 6 inches, and I was able to fit into it.
From her height.
Exactly, from her height. But that's something great to keep in mind. And Prita and I had the same coloring, and so some gown that she competed in would probably be a great fit for myself also.
Agreed. Another great place to check out former contestants with their gowns is consignment sites like PageantResale.com, which is a fantastic site that a lot of former contestants and kind of designers, up-and-coming designers, a lot of times will post gowns on the site for sale. I think the fantastic thing about Pageant Resale is that it has gowns at every budget, and it actually sorts the gowns by price range. So you can click on the under $100 or $100 to $250, and then you'll find gowns in there that are being sold at that price. It's important to note that the gowns that are in those categories, if it's in a $200 to $400 price range, it doesn't mean that that's the original cost of the gown. It's just what the seller is selling it at. So, for example, I found a fabulous Sherry Hill gown that was priced at $900 originally on Pageant Resale for about $250.
Amazing.
So it's a great, great way to find beautiful gowns that have been worn once or twice, gently used, and now can be yours, and you can alter them.
Yeah, agreed. And something to keep in mind is that don't be afraid to ask for a price that's lower than what they're asking for. If something, if you've had your eye on a gown and it's been there for a couple months, I would just email the individual that's selling the gown and ask for $20 to $50 off of their asking price, and you'd be surprised that they might let you have it for that price.
Yeah. And don't forget pageant resale after your pageant, because it is a great way to sell your gown. If you're a title holder or a repeat contestant, you'll find that you stock up a lot of gowns. So, rather than having them just sit in your closet, either be kind enough to donate them to other contestants or let them borrow it, or put it on pageant resale to make some of that money back.
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget to factor in the cost of shipping for the gown, because it might not be included in the price that they're asking for. Shipping could be as little as $5 up to $20 depending on what the gown looks like, how big it is, and where the person is in relation to you.
Yeah, keep in mind the timing behind it. So if your pageant is just, a couple weeks away, might not be the best avenue to go, but if you do have some time, definitely check out the site, look at the gowns, and don't forget that they can still be altered, because now you will own these gowns. So if you find a gorgeous gown that you really love that might be, a couple sizes too big, don't hesitate to order it and then take it to your tailor. They can tailor those things down and have it be the perfect fit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's definitely going to be worth the price to do so.
Save a lot of money that way.
Definitely.
So what is next on the list?
We're talking about bedazzling, Courtney's personal favorite, and actually Prita, who actually we're talking about in the article, Prita's gown from DC, USA, that was, sitting in her closet. She competed in it before, and she, kicked up the volume a little bit the next time she competed in it by, adding rhinestones.
Yeah, sometimes the really sparkly, dresses with the rhinestones and the crystals can be on the higher price range. But if you get creative and head over to your local Michael's or craft store, it's not difficult to, to pick up some jewels and add a little of that extra sparkle to the gown yourself. So you can buy a relatively simple gown and add to it. So, like Nicole said, that's exactly what I did for an evening gown that I wore at Miss Maryland USA that I loved and didn't want to get rid of, but wanted to, have some bling.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you immediately when you are shopping for a gown, you think of all the dress shops that are in town, online. And you might have the dress of your dreams, sitting in the back of your closet, and you might not even know it or remember that you even have that gown.
Right. You can alter the look of a gown completely by adding rhinestones, adding jewels, making some changes to it. Even if it's, a dress and straps, you can take it to your tailor, have them alter it to make it an entirely different gown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can add a slit to a gown, but if you're changing something like the neckline, or having a slit or having a train added to the gown, it's definitely going to be a little more costly, and you'll definitely want to hire a professional to do these alterations.
Yes, don't just go to your local dry cleaner. Make sure you find a tailor that you have either worked with, or give them some test pieces to make sure that they're making your gown perfect.
Yeah, in our Evening Gown 101 course, something that Prita has said that is just such a great piece of advice is that the cost of your gown is not necessarily directly related to your odds of winning. And I think these are some great options for finding a gown of your dreams, but on a budget as well.
Yeah, I mean, pageants can be expensive. You've got entry fees. You have little costs that creep up, whether it's jewelry or shoes or makeup. It all can kind of come together and seem a bit overwhelming. So there are avenues that you can take where you can save yourself a little cash, and maybe that'll help with the other expenses that you'll have along the way. But like Nicole said, cost doesn't always make the gown. You make the gown. So just make sure that whatever it is that you pick, expensive or a budget gown, that you feel amazing in it, because that's what's really going to come through to the judges and make a difference in your evening gown competition.
Right, and if you have a budget, stick to it. Like, don't make excuses. Don't buy something that you can't afford. You want it to be a fun experience. You don't want to go in debt and
which can happen easily.
It can happen easily, and you don't want to resent the experience or have a bad taste in your mouth with all of the things that are going on. You just have to get creative.
Yep. So hopefully this video has given you some great advice on how to find the perfect gown on a budget.
Yep, and here's what we want you to do. Click on the link in the description below, and it'll take you directly to the article that Allie's written about gowns on a budget.
Did you know that there are some really common mistakes that girls make during the evening gown portion of their competition? Click on the link in the description below and you'll be taken to our website for a free 30-minute long training course. By the end of it, you'll learn how to avoid these common mistakes and master the evening gown portion of your competition today.